Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining our Spreecast today. I think this is the fourth time we've done this. It's so great to be able to talk to people and answer their questions. My name is Chris. I get to work with Haley Pomeroy every day. She will be on camera in just a minute. If you're not really familiar with Haley yet, she is the author of, let's see, there we go, this book, The Fast Metabolism Diet. It's a New York Times bestseller, and it's a wonderful plan. And those of you who've been on it for a while know that it's really a lifestyle. It's really about changing the whole way that you approach food and think about food, but it's done in a very easy and a very approachable way. And that's especially as important as we go into the holidays and we're all going to be faced with mountains of sweets and candy and who knows what. So today we're going to talk about getting through the holidays and preparing for the holidays and some strategies and tips that you can use to stay on track so that you start the new year being lighter rather than ending up heavier. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Haley Pomeroy. Let me bring her on camera. And I apologize in advance if we don't get to all of your questions. We will answer as many as we can. And hopefully we'll get through them all. And there she is.
Hi, everybody. Happy almost holidays, or some are getting closer than others. We just enjoyed Halloween. I don't know about you guys, but there was lots of candy flowing in our direction, from the offices to the kids' schools. It's quite an interesting holiday always to me. I always think I love food-centric holidays, but Halloween's one of those that I maybe someone can give me what the history is behind um, so much candy, but it's always an interesting one for me, needless to say. I hope you guys got some of our recipes, the stuffed bell peppers, the really cute skeleton, and the little ghost cookies, and I hope you guys enjoy those. We're always thinking about you as the seasons change and everything that we have going on here. We're going to start with, this is actually a really good question. My family has a lot of travel coming up, so what are some tips for staying on? As a lot of you guys know, I travel a ton. We as a family travel a lot, and then for business and for work, I travel a lot as well. So I use what I call a crash stash all the time. We talked about it in the book. We talked about having things that are easy and accessible. There's a couple things that I do with traveling that a lot of my clients do with traveling that seems to help. The first thing that you want to think about, or that I think about, is that the fast metabolism diet is all about elevating your micronutrient level so that the biomechanics of your metabolism can work efficiently. So with the fast metabolism diet, we're flooding the body with very nutrient-rich, nutrient-dense foods, specifically in a cycle that's going to, we always say, kind of confuse it to lose it, or stimulate your body to release stored fat, to unwind stress, release stored fat, and to burn newly released stored fat. But when you travel, sometimes I find it very difficult to always get really micronutrient dense foods. I keep things like turkey jerky. I keep packets of the steel cut oats. I keep raw nuts and seeds. I'm huge on the raw nut and seeds butter. I also use the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 powders, and I take them with me. I put them in little baggies, and I just bring my blender bottle. And when I travel, those are very helpful. For me, they're kind of a staple for when I travel. The other thing too is make sure that you Google or look up local health food stores. A lot of times I will, for a couple reasons. One, because you can run in and buy perishable food really fast. And some of my favorite towns, like I go to, there's a small town outside of Boston that has this health food store called Deborah's, if you guys are listening. It's one of my favorite places to stop. It's this really small health food store, but it has the most amazing food that I can just run in and grab. So it's a really important thing to do. But the other thing is health food stores are really good resources for healthy restaurants. A lot of times they'll have flyers or information, or you can talk to the manager there. And that's how I found some of my favorite places to eat when I travel. The other thing that you can do is I take a daily multivitamin. I use the Metabolism Ready. It's specifically designed and targeted to elevate your micronutrient level so that that your body can I use the term kind of flooded with those nutrients and those minerals and vitamins and specialized folic acid that help the body's metabolism continue to go. All the enzymes and coenzymes and cofactors that actually improve the very mechanism of metabolism. So wherever you're traveling, look for a local health food store. always Whole Foods is a great option too, Sprouts, Vitamin Cottage. I'm trying to think of some of the national chains, but the little mom and pop health food stores, even if they're a small vitamin or homeopathic or herbal store, they're the ones that know the community or the area. When I go to Fort Collins, I go to this restaurant called Tasty Harmony. I lived there for 10 years. I had no idea that restaurant even existed, but I was in the food co-op one day and I asked them of a really good place to eat, and that's how I landed there. So keep non-perishables. Consider using a multivitamin. I use the Metabolism Ready, of course, because it's mine, but it's also, you know, corn-free, dairy-free, soy-free, wheat-free. You guys would expect that from me. But keep things in your suitcase that you replenish every time. So when I come home, I also take Smooth Move tea, a Yogi Immune tea. I need to take a picture of what I put in my suitcase, but in that front packet, I just replenish that every time I unpack my suitcase so that when I'm ready to go, I never leave home without my crash stash. Um, ooh, so I hope that helps. The next question that I just got is that a person's getting ready to take a cruise. That's that's an interesting one. Cruises have a tendency to be very food centric and not always health food centric, although there's some that are starting to pop up that are incorporating. I've seen gluten-free menus. I just had a client that I think it was a Princess Cruise that sent me some of the menu, and I went over it with her. The biggest issue I think with cruise is that usually there are healthy options. It's just that there's this plethora or this kind of abundance, for lack of a better word to say, of unhealthy options. I have a hard time when there are like 80 desserts to test from and things that you could possibly try, to not want to kind of go in and try all of them. And I also have a sweet tooth, so a cruise would be very hard personally for me. Um, so the most important thing is keep your protein regular, to keep your blood sugar stabilized, because it's when you get those blood sugar dips that your body's going to crave those refined carbs, those sugary based foods. If you're going to partake in the alcohol, and from what I understand, a lot of cruises have you know, an abundance of that, and a lot of it is included in the packages. You want to make sure that you do 8 ounces of additional water for every drink that you have. You also want to make sure that you have protein right before, and ideally a healthy protein and a fat. I know we talked a little bit about this on another blog, but that fat will help the body. Um, Alcohol is converted to sugar very readily in the bloodstream, and it also works on the liver. That's why individuals that consume too much alcohol have liver enzyme issues or cirrhosis of the liver, things of that nature. But as you consume a lot of alcohol, if we can put in nutrients that help your body, one, metabolize the alcohol more efficiently, get the rate of sugar delivery a little bit slower, and also support the liver in being efficient. So the combination of protein and the healthy fats will do that. So like nuts and seeds, obviously that's why bars have, you know, peanuts at the bar to eat, is so that you can actually drink more liquor while you're there and not fall off your bar stool. So on a cruise, again, I'm going to go over that. I want you to keep your protein frequent, 10 to 15 grams every 2 to 3 hours. I want you to keep your hydration up. I want you to make sure that you do fruit as an option, and I want you to, if you get a sweet craving, try to go there. But if you're going to do the sweets and you're going to do the alcohol, make sure that you have protein, make sure you have vegetables, and make sure to get that healthy fat. So avocado on your salad, olive oil. If you're going to try to stay on the fast metabolism diet, there's a couple tricks that I have clients that travel that are in the middle of a 28-day cycle. One of our products called Crave Control has an amino acid complex that works to support the brain, and it's crave centers. So it's got things like the 5-HTP, the amino acids like theanine that help the body not crave sugar. It also has chromium, which helps the body kind of stabilize blood sugar. So that will help you kind of stave off the temptations. But if you're going to go and you're going to indulge and you're going to enjoy, use some of those little tricks to help your body metabolize more efficiently and keep your metabolism on fire. Oh, this person, I just want to say something because I just reread the question. It just came up. They're on their second month of the fast metabolism diet, the person that just asked me about the cruise, which means they've already done a full 28 days. And so in that case specifically, you might want to try incorporating, I don't know how long the cruise is, but what we call phase 4, which is where you actually, you're going to keep your grains and at breakfast and at dinner, your non-refined complex carbs, grains or starches, and that your snacks are going to be protein and healthy fat based anyway. The next question is a great one, especially because we have the holidays coming up. We also have an amazing digital cookbook that we're going to be giving away that is holiday centric. And with the holidays, desserts and sweets are probably even more prevalent. And I know that a lot of people are using stevia as well as xylitol and maybe some other of the natural plant-based extracts as sweeteners. So this question is there a limit to how much stevia can be used in a day? And with this question, there's a couple different philosophies about it. There's a lot of studies about refined stevia, about stevia that's raw. There's a couple of variations on that theme. Just like with xylitol, there's birch xylitol and there's corn xylitol. You know that I'm definitely an advocate for the birch or the hardwood xylitols over the corn-based xylitols. The same is the case with stevia. You want a pure stevia-based product. I'm not a fan at all of the products that combine stevia with other things like dextrose or erythritol. I find that they create an imbalance in the sugar, and I find this especially in individuals that are diabetic, that have hypoglycemia or dysglycemia, individuals that have gestational diabetes, things of that nature. We seem to find that those brands, and like Truvia falls into that category, actually stevia in the raw has dextrose in it, but that the pure, true stevia leaves, people have a tendency, it doesn't have a tendency to disrupt the blood sugar like artificial sweeteners do. Even given that said, I like your body to be exposed to a lot of different flavors and tastes because it stimulates so many different digestive enzymes and encourages such a variety of micronutrient absorption in different ways. So for example, if you have spicy foods, from the second you actually smell it, see it, think about it, your body starts secreting specific enzymes and coenzymes that'll help break down foods that are unique to foods that have capsaicin or certain bioflavonoids that make those foods actually spicy. The same thing with foods that are sour, the same thing with foods that are sweet. Even if they don't have a glycemic value like stevia, they don't stimulate insulin output maybe because they don't deliver sugar into the bloodstream. They still stimulate certain enzymes, coenzymes, and cofactors in the metabolism that are unique to sweet foods or foods that stimulate the sweet sensation in the brain. So if you're doing that all day, every day long, your body's going to have a fatigue response. Your body's also going to that production, your body's also going to be neglecting or leaving out some of the other really important enzymes, coenzymes, and cofactors that are stimulated only by different tastes and different sensations in the brain. So I don't tell people, have stevia once a day, have stevia 3 times a week, but what I say is make sure that there's a variety of different herbs, spices, senses, and flavors in your meals. Just like with the fast metabolism diet, we're changing between high carb, low carb, high healthy fats. That's a good way for me to define it for you. But what's so important in that is that we're stimulating a variety, we're rotating between rest and repair and stimulus of different senses also. So don't do stevia all day long every day. Make sure that you're doing spicy, make sure that you're doing tangy, make sure that you're changing textures because that will also keep your metabolism guessing. In phase 2, I crave chocolate. Even if I'm not a chocolate eater, what can I do? So I always believe that when people crave something, that's a way that their body's communicating to them that they need something. Kind of the rule of thumb in the natural health industry is individuals that crave chocolate typically would like more magnesium in their diet. So I would be interested to see if possibly you're also an individual that gets a little bit of constipation in phase 2 because magnesium has a tendency to increase the hydration in the bowel, and so it helps with constipation. But usually chocolate craving. Chocolate also is an endorphin supporter, so maybe your body needs a little bit more endorphin stimulus. So from now on in phase 2, I want you to go bungee jumping. I'm just kidding. But things like dry skin brushing, because that stimulates endorphins. We just recently posted a thing called the wet sock treatment, which increases vasodilation in the body. That would be a good one for you. But also maybe considering adding a little bit of magnesium. I don't know, your particular health issue or particular health, I guess I should say position. Check with your doctor. But with magnesium, um, like a lot of my clients before their periods will have a tendency to really crave the chocolates. And if we put 500 milligrams, 250 milligrams of magnesium before bed, those chocolate cravings go away. So when I talk about magnesium, calcium, magnesium, potassium, all the minerals, when we have kind of funny cravings, and I know specifically that you're in phase 2 and we're trying to alkalinize the body, you might be having a little bit of a pH issue. So you can do things like adding lemon and lime to your water, because those will help your body stimulate the enzymes, the digestive enzymes that help keep your pH more stable. You also might try doing a hot bath. If you're craving chocolate, a hot bath and putting some baking soda in there, that helps alkalinize the body a little bit. You might try a couple tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. That helps to alkalinize the body a little bit. You can go to the drugstore and buy nitrazine strips to test your pH. The urine's pH after your first morning void should be just a little bit acidic, about a 6.8. The saliva pH should also be about a 6.8. If you're too high, and these are real broad, but typically that means the body's demineralizing a little bit. So if you come back alkaline, if your body comes back, the urine and the saliva come back acidic, that usually means that the body is what we call sodium bound or having a little bit of a hard time with the electrolytes. So those are things that, and we can go kind of we can go off on a huge tangent on pH, but craving chocolate means a lot to me. I want to think about constipation. I want to think about making sure that you have enough magnesium in your diet. I want to make sure that you keep your pH stable. And then maybe consider trying some chocolate flavored stevia, since we just had a stevia question. It helps me. I like to do the Pero. I know we've talked a little bit about that, or Dandy. The Dandy Brew, the dandelion based, or the Pero, but remember the Pero is not gluten free because it has barley in it, or some smooth move tea and put a little bit of the chocolate stevia. And then I do have a tendency to kind of on phase 2 or right around my period take about 250 to 500 milligrams of magnesium right before bed. That seems to help with my desire to chase down a Girl Scout and eat all of her Thin Mints. I hope that helps. Um, This is a great question, actually. Actually, these are all amazing questions. You guys are doing such an incredible job, and I just love that we're sitting here talking about food. This is concerned about using full-fat coconut milk because of the saturated fat content. Is it better to use light coconut milk? Um, or, I didn't know, Chris, if you could roll that up. I'm not sure what the or is on the question. Or something. So I'm just going to answer the part of the question that I can see. Um, So coconut milk does have saturated fat content. And this would be a great blog post for us because I could go off on a huge tangent on that. These are what are called medium chain. Um, and our body metabolizes them a little differently, a little more efficiently. And the fats in coconut milk they fall into that category of what we consider healthy fats. Anything between full fat to middle of the range. I don't like when they've removed all of the fat from the coconut milk, just like even with full fat versus light. I'm sorry, I just got the question. I have a tendency to use the whole coconut milk in its pure form. When I use but I'm not drinking, 8 ounces a day, 3 times a day. But when I'm making a recipe, the recipes typically taste much better. I like creamy consistency. I feel like I work very hard to have my body be able to metabolize those healthy fats. I feel like your body gets a lot out of it. I'm not really that vested. The light coconut milk doesn't have 100% of the fat removed. That's where I get really concerned. I would say it's more a little bit of a palate issue from a health perspective. I personally don't have the concerns because of the medium chain and how the body metabolizes that specific type of fat. So I hope that helps. So this individual, gosh, you guys are going to a lot of fun places this year. We're staying home. um, okay, this individual said they're going to Walt Disney World for 10 days and planning on walking 8 to 10 hours a day and wants to know about adding a snack to compensate. So that's a really good A good question. If you're going to be awake for, you're getting 8 hours of sleep and you're awake through a normal day and you're eating every 3 to 4 hours on the fast metabolism diet and you're walking leisurely, our bodies are meant to move. If you're really hoofing it to get on a ride and your heart rate's going to be above 120 for 20 to 30 minutes straight, then that would probably warrant an additional snack. You can always add vegetables though. I don't know, actually, you're going to be on all of the phases. Doing things like beet chips, sweet potato fries. I will make those. I make a lot of the different types of jerky, salmon jerky, halibut jerky, whatever I have left over, I make jerky out of it, seems like. Turkey, things like that. Those are really good because you can make those before your trip. You can take those with you and you can enjoy them. You can make any kind of vegetable chip. I don't know if you have a dehydrator or you can use your oven also to make those kinds of things. They're really easy to kind of pack, throw in your suitcase, take with you, especially if you're going to be there. For me, that's awfully expensive to be snacking kind of all day long for 8 to 10 days on food that you'll find that's probably not as healthy at Walt Disney World, although I have a sister that works for Disney, and I will say that they are definitely incorporating more healthy foods, which makes me really happy when I go. So remember, you can always snack all day long on anything vegetable based on any of the phases. If you're really going to be getting your cardio up, then you would want to add an additional snack. But if you're just kind of enjoying your family and walking around and stopping a little and stuff, what I find a lot of times when I'm at Disneyland is that I kind of love to do the mindful snacking. And so I always bring, and we have a bunch of kids, as you guys know, so we're always bringing stuff anyway, but I like to bring a lot of the vegetable-based snacks, the snap peas, again, I love sweet potatoes, so sweet potato chips I'll make, zucchini chips, I make beet chips. In phase two, I make carrot chips, which are really good. You can make kale chips, those kinds of things, because you can just, go on a ride, eat some snacks, go on a ride, eat some snacks, and that's the way I like to do Disney personally. Um, this is a great question that we actually got through our website. Um, and this is something that, again, I noticed so much during Halloween that the office goes crazy for sweets during the holidays. Um, and we get, fortunately, because of the industry I'm in, when we get packages delivered, usually they're like Harry and David pears, or like Costco does this amazing fruit basket. Those are the kinds of gifts that I send out, and also that people typically send to our office. But in my Burbank office specifically, we have a huge practice. They see like over 300 patients a day, and so people bring everything in there. The other day we had, literally on our shelf, it was Krispy Kreme donuts. um, this was around Halloween. We had Halloween, a baby shower, a going away party, all going on in our office at the same time. So there was every kind of sweet you could possibly imagine. What I say is, there's two things. One, are you asking me if that's okay? If it's, it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to lose weight, then no, we need to be on a strict fast metabolism diet because we're trying to rehabilitate our metabolism. And if your body is more than 10 pounds overweight and you're not in a weight loss trend, then that's a great indication that your metabolism needs to be repaired. If you're trying to, if you've just had weight loss and you're trying to maintain weight loss and you want to participate in some of the sweets that are around the holidays, make sure that it's on top of other things, not in place of. So, for example, that you have your five meals, you have your 5 times a day that you're eating, you have your three meals, you have your 2 snacks, and that a dessert or a treat is on top of it. The other piece is, let's say what you're, because I'm not sure what they're asking me. Let's say you're asking me that it's very difficult for you to refrain, that every time you walk by a colleague's desk, you're wanting to kind of grab the M&M tray or things like that. I use and that's why we're giving away today, the Metabolism Crave Control. One of my staff members the other day, we have a kind of a big staff meeting going on, and we all came together and had lunch, and I'm always making sure that people have snacks, and everybody in our office can attest that I'm always trying to feed people. We always have, apples and almonds and things in our office that are helpful. But one of our staff is on the crave control, and she says, you've got to remind me to eat because it does have a really good appetite suppressing property to it. Now, what I find is that it really helps you not want to migrate personally migrate towards the sweet. So that's something that you can supplement and support yourself. But I guess it depends. Are you asking me kind of if you want to participate? Just make sure that it's on top. Desserts are not in the replace of food unless they're whole food based desserts like the ones we post. But if they're candies, that doesn't count unless they're candies that we make, because we'll show you how to make candies over this holiday season that are FMD approved. If you're complaining, I totally get it. So try to be part of the problem and give the gift of health when you this holiday season. If you're sending care packages, send out fruit baskets, send out pears, send out pomegranates. We just got cases of pomegranates, the most gorgeous red, beautiful pomegranates to our office that all of us are just loving and enjoying. So give the gift of health. Participate after you've worked on repairing your metabolism, or use something to supplement to help combat the sweet cravings. The other little trick that I do is I do a lot of hot tea. That vasodilation in the stomach gives a little bit of a stomach stretch, which tells the brain, it helps work on leptin levels, and it helps tell the brain not to have as intense cravings. I hope those all help over this season. It's a crazy time. For this Thanksgiving, what are some of the best phase 3 foods to showcase with family and friends? So as I had mentioned, we are going to be releasing, Chris can tell you when, I know it's pretty much any day now. Sorry, someone's trying to send me a message. Any day now, we are going to be releasing a cookbook that's digital, that is in kind of celebrating the holidays, but also promoting and bringing to the attention that we have our cookbook coming out in December that you guys can all go on and order. And I just looked on Amazon, they've got it discounted. So we're ordering a bunch of them before they get more expensive here in this neck of the woods. But that cookbook has specific recipes that we put in there that we use, for holiday season. We have pumpkin pie, we've got amazing cranberry sauce, stuffing. There's a really cool eggnog that we've put in there. Just different things that you can exactly kind of showcase and celebrate. Also, in the cookbook, and we're going to start pre-releasing a few of those additional recipes, there's some great just family meals, things that we use a lot. I think it was last Thanksgiving, we had 27 people for dinner, things that we use a lot in our family that we share, and things like when we're also doing the makeovers. I don't know if you got a chance to try the tuna casserole, but you can modify that for the day after. You can use actually turkey instead of the tuna, and those are and it is great. We're also going to do like this breakfast souffle that you can use for the day after. We've got turkey tacos in there. So I promise you that's coming really, really soon, and that'll help you incorporate those. So I would say the pumpkin pie, I would say the cranberries are amazing, I would say the eggnog's incredible. We've got the turkey tacos that are great, and we're constantly, our minds here are definitely on the holiday seasons, and so we're going to constantly contribute more and more recipes. Make sure that you're getting our newsletter, because we have several recipes every week. And as you guys saw on we're the pumpkin post, we're full swing into the holidays over here at the Haley Pomeroy group for sure. Okay, what is your advice if you fall off the wagon and decide to splurge one day? Please give differences. I can't read the last of this question. Sorry, guys. It only goes to part of it. There's a couple posts that we've done in the past which are about falling off the wagon. One is dust yourself off, get right back onto where you started. It depends. There's another post that we did, which would be a great one to go to our blogs and look at. We have a recipe which is an alkaline cabbage soup base recipe. So I guess, okay, let me go through this. Let me give you a couple variations on the theme. The first one is if you're in the middle of the 28 days, quickly be done with your binge, dust yourself off, and get right back on to where you left off. So you don't have to go off of your rhythm. If you have a one day, fell off the wagon or jumped off the wagon purposefully, and you were in phase 1 and it was your second day of phase 1, go right to phase 2. The hardest time to do that, I would say, like if you're in phase one, and I don't want to encourage you to jump off the wagon purposefully, but if you're in phase one, you're already in a higher glycemic phase. If you're in phase two and you kind of jump off the wagon, it wouldn't be a bad idea if it's not going to totally mess up your rhythm and your schedule. Like some people are diehard, phase one is Monday. Um, and that way they have their weekend Friday, Saturday, Sunday with phase three. Some people, it doesn't matter to them. So listen to your body, listen to yourself. In my ideal world, if Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if those didn't matter to you and you were on phase two and you jumped off the wagon, I'd probably have you repeat another day of phase two. If you're on phase three and jumped off the wagon, which is what commonly happens, I find that phase three, one, because it's either fallen on a weekend, and the other thing is because I swear, I think people think that I say, phase one is all your high glycemic fruits and your complex carbs. Phase two is all these amazing alkaline vegetables and your proteins, and phase three is whatever you want to do. I swear, I think that some people think that that's what I've said. Phase three is very strategically designed to help your body emulsify the fats that you're eating, but also the newly released fat from phase two. So there's definitely madness to my method and method to my madness with phase three. Phase three is very important. But let's say you jump off the wagon at phase three, and you're on day one of phase three and you've got 2 more days of the fats. I would definitely say lower the glycemic value by taking the grain out of your evening meals. Let's say you jump off the bandwagon and it's the last day of phase three and it's the later part of it. Don't worry about it. Just go right up to phase one, do 2 days of phase one, 2 days of phase two, 3 days of phase three. I would say the one that I would it would be to me worth altering your weeks over is if you jump off the bandwagon on phase two, because it's really important that we take those 2 days, we alkalinize the body, we stimulate the digestive enzymes, we support the pancreas, which regulates the insulin and the blood sugar and regulates how much sugar is burned for fuel and how much sugar is stored as fat. Those 2 days are really uh, critical from a therapeutic perspective. I'm trying to get so that you guys actually enjoy those, but you might not enjoy everything. You might have to go to the movies for enjoyment on those days. Although I personally have enough options that I enjoy those, but maybe I enjoy it because I totally understand how clinically necessary they are, or how much of a therapeutic response they make, or what a difference they make in my clinical setting. But so those would be the ones that I would, be worth sticking to. Let's say if you're off of your 28 days, same thing, I would jump right back on the wagon. But if you're off of your 28 days, we also have something that I do for my clients, which is just 1 to 3 days of really significantly alkalinizing. And so we have this great cabbage soup recipe, and we do Beeler broth for 1 to 3 days, depending on, until their body feels like it comes back, and then they go right back on. So I'll make sure that on our Facebook and our blog posts, we both have the Beeler broth and the cabbage soup. And we typically do cabbage soup like 3 times a day. We do the Beeler broth twice a day. And we do 10 to 15 grams of protein, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Get the body kind of alkalinized, the inflammation down, the blood sugar stabilized, and we seem to have a better effect afterwards. This is a good question. The downside if we miss our water or our exercise quota. So we'll go with water first, and I talk a lot about water with you guys. If we want to think about the fast metabolism is designed to not only okay, let's look at it this way. There's 3 things that I want to do with supporting your body and having a fast metabolism. One is I want your body to efficiently be able to take in food and break it down for energy. The other thing that I want you to be able to do is I want you to be able to take stored fat and break it down for energy. And the third thing that I want to be able to do is once you're breaking down that stored fat, to release toxins that stimulate more fat storage, to release those toxins, convert them into water-soluble toxins, and excrete them out of the body so that we don't just recirculate them. Because if we continue to recirculate them, the body will always be in a weight-gaining mode. So I'm just going to kind of explain that a little bit. So as we are metabolizing food efficiently for energy, as we're starting to release historical fats, that's where our body stores our fat-soluble toxins. It's also really critical in rebalancing our hormones, in utilizing our fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, E, K. And I always say if you got a vitamin D deficiency, you've got to be very suspicious that your hormones are off somewhere, somehow. So as we're doing all of that, we're converting those fat-soluble toxins, hopefully, we're either releasing them through the stool. And if you're not hydrated, if you don't have enough water, the stool won't be efficient in releasing those toxins. We're also converting those to water-soluble toxins, excuse me, and excreting those through the kidneys, the breath, and the sweat. And if we are not hydrated, the body will send messages to the mechanisms, the organs, the glands, and the hormones that are responsible for that release and detoxification and that stimulation of metabolism when we become dehydrated. So water is so important. And a great baseline or something to look at is to make sure that you do about half your body weight in ounces. So I say 200 pounds, that would be 100 ounces in spring water. And the exercise quota. I always jokingly say that I was built for comfort, not for speed. I am not a great athlete unless you have me on a horse. It's like if somebody else, if I try to do other things, I'm very uncoordinated, and I, I just am. I work. I believe in exercise. I think if I could bottle anything and give it out, that would make the biggest health impact. Exercise would be it. I'm a huge advocate. Um, there's such health benefits that occur with exercise. We have stress reduction. We have endorphin stimulation. We have all of the feel-good hormones. It's extremely anti-aging. It increases blood flow into the visceral fat, the fat that surrounds all of our organs, into the subcutaneous fat, the fat that lies on our outer layers and sometimes looks a little or a lot lumpy bumpy. And there's no better health impact that you can make. It tonifies our heart. It stimulates the liver to promote, or to perform all of the hundreds of thousands of biological activities that it happens in a day. And so I think it's a really, really important, and something that I'd really like to see all of you try to do. One day of cardio in phase one day of weight-based exercise in phase two, and one day of stress reducing, including massage, in phase three. And that's why I've gone to the effort. Like, I've had several shoulder surgeries because of a car accident. And so going through physical therapy for several years, I learned a lot of different types of exercise, if your shoulders hurt, if your legs hurt, things like that. So that's why we've tried to kind of continue to put posts on there. But, one thing that I'd love to hear is some great phase-specific exercises, or even phase-specific videos that you guys have found that we could kind of share with our community, that you guys have found that are great, or things you can enjoy. We're always looking. We're in this together, you guys. So we're always looking for insight and input, for things that as you can see, all these great questions, that people that are traveling, that have holidays, that aren't participating in a gym, that don't have a personal trainer, or that have a potential injury or something that inhibits them from maybe doing a traditional exercise. I hope that helps. Okay, next question. If you miss a snack, can you add that missed protein to your meat to your dinner? I actually get that question a lot. And I get it a lot with my clients. So one of the things that we have to be careful is when you get too much, even too much of a good thing, it can be too much for your body to handle or to metabolize. So I would caution of adding that full um, uh, 3 ounces to your meal. What I would do is, I mean, if you feel hungry, you might add 1 ounce, or you might split it up a little bit, where you have your meal and then maybe 2 hours later you have a snack. Or if you have, they asked the question about 6 ounces, converting it to 9 ounces. What I'd maybe do is do, like, 7 ounces and then have 2 ounces 2 hours later. It's just sometimes if you want to find that sweet spot where your body has enough to be super efficient. But we can all drown. We can even drown in success. We can drown in water, as I just talked to you about how important water is. But that's the perfect analogy to say that too much or too quick of delivery of something, even if it's good and if it's healthy, can kind of push us past that point. So I'd probably be a little bit more of a snacker and stretch it out, as opposed to just doubling down at that meal. Next question. Yes, P3 exercise is absolutely essential. I wasn't kidding when I said that I want you to do one form of exercise each day. But there's a lot of things that you can do on P3 exercise. You can deep breathing. There's amazing videos, even on YouTube, about deep breathing exercises, stretching, low impact yoga. I just watched this amazing video on what's called yin yoga. And yin yoga is, especially for, again, not to keep bemoaning, but from having a lot of shoulder surgeries and stuff, I have to be really careful with yoga, um, that I can end up actually injuring. It hurts. Okay, so let's just say it that way. But I just learned about a yoga process that's called yin yoga, which is a lot of holding your poses for very long periods of time, a lot of deep breathing, a lot of stress reduction. And in Chinese medicine, yin is kind of your creative energy, and so it can really actually be invigorating or give you a ton of energy afterwards. It was quite impressive. But yes, you can also do self massage. You can do reflexology. Um, you can do, uh, you know, pay somebody else to massage you, barter, but you definitely need to do some sort of stress reducing, blood flow enhancing exercise. I also have a far infrared sauna. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but I would consider that definitely as a phase 3 exercise. It's extremely vasodilating. It's an incredible health, makes an incredible health impact. So that would be, and it's a great thing to throw your kids in if they ever have a cold or flu or fevering or anything like that. That's kind of our version, I guess, of Tylenol. I would say in our household, we throw them in the sauna. So I hope that helps. Last question. We have Christmas tradition where we make homemade cinnamon buns for Christmas morning. Any gluten-free ideas or flowers? We have a whole blog post where we went through a lot of the gluten-free flours. One of them that is probably one of my favorites for making things taste like the real deal, but isn't quite perfect for the fast metabolism diet. So it depends on if you're on the 28 days or if you're on maintenance. But I love Pamela's. Is one of those brands that um, because one of our sons has celiac, so we do a lot of gluten-free things. And some of our kids, the food has to taste a little bit more like the crappier original version, and other one of our kids would, some of our kids would eat, twigs and nuts and seeds. They all have different appetites and different taste buds, but but that's the one that I use, and it's a one-to-one replacement. So you can make, they have the variations on the theme. So kind of look at see what's in there. Um, but we have a blog. If you go to our blog, we have a blog post about other flours that you can use for making bread, for making um, pies and stuff like that. But the Cinnabons sound incredible. And if you make something that turns out, well, I'm sure it's going to turn out great. If you make something that you think our community would like, don't hesitate to post it, send it, pin it. Um, you guys have been such an incredible motivation for all of us over here. We are continuing to strive to come up with new ideas. We want to make sure that we support you through these holiday seasons. And, everybody always talks about the new year, new you, at least in our industry. Everybody talks about that all the time. And we want to celebrate the this year, this you, with you over the holiday seasons. And I just can't say how touched I am by all of your stories. We read all your emails, and it, so many of them bring me to tears, make me laugh, make me scoff, because I think, gosh, why didn't I think of that? That was an incredible recipe. So I appreciate all that you're sharing with us, and if there's anything we can do to help you guys further, please don't hesitate to let us know. And happy holidays. I think we'll be talking one more time. I'm not sure, Chris. Do you know if we talk one more time before the holidays? Some of them.
Oh yes,
Some people are
yes,
coming.
definitely.
Okay. Oh, good. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. Okay. And enjoy our recipes that we're putting out. We've worked very hard, and they're very good.
Thanks everybody for joining. Stay tuned on Facebook. We're going to announce that mini recipe booklet next week, and we'll talk to you about how you can get it. It'll be very simple to sign up and download it. And there's some great stuff in there. I mean, the pictures alone just make us all want to drool. So we're very excited for you to get your hands on them. Thanks again for joining, and stay tuned. If you missed any part of this broadcast, you can watch the whole thing from the very beginning. You just click on the same link. You can watch the whole thing again. And you can do that with any of the past Spreecasts as well. It's really a great feature. Again, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, guys.